This one is titled, My Fiancee Texted Me She's Pregnant, then said she wants to put her ex's name on the birth certificate. So I got a paternity test and exposed everything. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's Fyra here with another story for you. If you're new around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We drop these regularly, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Okay, so this one. This story right here had me staring at my screen with my mouth open. We've got a guy 2 weeks out from his wedding. Everything's good. Life is good. Then his fiancée sends him a text that changes everything. And I mean everything. Not because she said something mean or started a fight, but because she accidentally told on herself in a way that is so unbelievably stupid, I almost couldn't believe it was real. You're gonna want to sit down for this one. Let's get into it. He starts off like this. So, I was at my desk at work. I do logistics for a shipping company, been there about 4 years, decent gig, and my phone goes off. Text from Brooke, my fiancée. We're 2 weeks out from the wedding. Everything's booked. Venue, photographer, catering, DJ. 15 grand deep into this thing at least. I figured it was something about flowers or seating charts because that's basically all we'd been texting about for weeks. I open it up. Honey, I'm pregnant. My heart just stopped, then started going like crazy. Pregnant. We were gonna have a baby. I'm sitting at my desk grinning like an idiot, hands shaking a little, just trying to process it. A guy in the cubicle next to me, Kevin, nice dude, always eating those weird protein bars that smell like sawdust. He looked over and asked if I was okay. I just nodded. More than okay. This was huge. This changed the whole picture. We weren't just getting married anymore. We were starting a family. I was already thinking about stuff. Nursery colors, whether we'd need a bigger place, how I was going to tell my parents. All of that in like a 5-second window. Then I kept reading. I'm thinking of putting Nolan's name on the birth certificate. It's more meaningful. The grin died, like somebody hit a switch. I read it again. Then again. My brain would not accept what I was looking at. She wants to name our baby after her ex-boyfriend. More meaningful. Those were her exact words. More meaningful than what? Than me? The actual father? The happiness I'd felt like 10 seconds earlier turned into something cold and sharp. Why would that even cross her mind? Why would naming our kid after another man be more meaningful unless... No. Stop. Think. She said she's pregnant. She didn't say the baby wasn't mine. But that comment. That insane, bizarre, completely out of nowhere comment about her ex's name. What does that even mean? My mind started connecting dots I really didn't want to connect. When was the last time we were together? 3 weeks ago. Maybe 4? Has she been acting weird lately? Kinda distant, actually. I tried to think, but everything felt foggy now. I stared at that message until my screen went dark, turned it back on, read it one more time. Words hadn't changed. I typed back something sarcastic. What? Great news. Congratulations. Because sarcasm felt safer than blowing up right then. I needed information before I started throwing accusations around. Needed to see reactions, figure out what was actually going on here. Because right now, all I had was a horrible gut feeling and one really suspicious text. I grabbed my jacket and walked out of the office. My supervisor yelled something about where I was going. Didn't answer. Got in my car and just sat there gripping the wheel. Phone went off again. Brooke. I'm so happy you're excited. We should celebrate tonight. Excited. Yeah. I felt a lot of things right then. Excited was not one of them. I needed to talk to somebody who might give me real answers before I went at Brooke directly. Somebody who'd react honestly if there was something to hide. I pulled up maps on my phone. I knew where Nolan lived. Brooke's ex. She pointed out his neighborhood once during a drive maybe 6 months back. Mentioned he got married, settled down, bought a house near the lake. At the time, it seemed like random small talk. Now it felt like something else entirely. The drive took about 40 minutes. 40 minutes of my brain spinning through every possible explanation. Maybe she was joking. Terrible joke, but possible. Maybe she meant it differently. Maybe I was losing my mind over nothing. I turned the radio on at some point and some love song came on. I don't remember which one, something about forever or whatever, and I changed it so fast I almost hit the wrong button and blasted static through the speakers. Nah, not today. Switched to sports talk. 2 guys arguing about trade rumor. That was better. That was noise I could handle. But the whole drive that phrase kept looping. More meaningful. More meaningful than the actual father's name. How does that make sense unless the actual father is someone else? Pulled up to a 2-story house with gray siding and a clean front yard. Blue sedan in the driveway next to a silver SUV. I parked across the street and sat there for a minute. What was I doing? Was I really about to accuse a guy I'd never met of sleeping with my fiancée based on one weird text? Yeah, because that text was too specific to be random. Too strange to be innocent. And if I was wrong, I'd apologize and leave. But if I was right, I needed to see his face when I brought it up. Walked up and knocked. 3 solid knocks. Heart pounding but face calm. A woman opened the door. Blonde, athletic, mid-30s. Had to be Nolan's wife. Can I help you? Hi, sorry to bother you. Is Nolan home? He's at work. Who are you? I pulled out my phone and showed her the text. Watched her eyes scan the words. Watched her face go from confused to shocked to something I couldn't quite name. I'm Brooke's fiancé, I said. She just sent me this. I don't know what it means. I was hoping your husband might. Her hand went to her mouth. What? Why would she say that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. She stepped back from the door, already pulling out her phone. Called Nolan and told him to come home immediately. Didn't explain why. Just kept saying it was urgent. Voice shaking the whole time. He'd be there in 20 minutes. She told me I could wait. So I did. We stood on the porch in this awful silence, her glancing at my phone screen every few seconds like she needed to confirm it was real. My phone buzzed. Brooke calling. Declined it. She could wait. All right, hold on. Let me just stop here for a second. Think about this man's day. He woke up this morning planning a wedding. Got a text that should have been the best news of his life. And instead he's standing on a stranger's porch waiting to find out if his entire relationship is a lie. 2 hours ago, he was picking out seating charts. Now he's wondering if the baby is even his. That's how fast your life can flip. One text message. Okay, let's keep going. 18 minutes later, the silver SUV came ripping down the street and jerked into the driveway. Nolan jumped out. Tall guy, business casual, clean cut. Saw me standing there with his wife and his face went pale. What's going on? I held up my phone. Brooke sent me this today. Thought you'd want to see it. He took the phone. Read it. Expression went from confused to horrified in about 3 seconds flat. What the? I haven't talked to Brooke in years. Then why would she mention your name? His wife. Voice sharp. I don't know. He looked panicked now, which was interesting. Because innocent people get confused. Guilty people panic. I took my phone back. She's pregnant. Says she wants to put your name on the birth certificate because it's more meaningful. You're telling me that means nothing to you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Voice went up an octave. I'm married. I haven't been anywhere near her. His wife's eyes were filling up. Then why would she say this, Nolan? I don't know. Maybe she's lying. Maybe she's trying to start something. I watched him carefully. Defensive, sure. But was it real defensiveness or was he covering? Hard to tell. Either way, I'd done what I came to do. Planted the seed, created some chaos. Now I had more to work with when I finally talked to Brooke. All right, I said. I'll go talk to her then. Nolan grabbed my arm. Wait, what are you going to tell her? The truth. That I came here. That you denied everything. That I want answers. He let go. Ran his hand through his hair. This is crazy. I didn't do anything. We'll see. Walked back to my car. Behind me, I could hear them starting to argue, her voice rising, his denials getting louder. I got in and just sat for a second. My phone was blowing up. Brooke texting over and over. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Call me, please. Didn't respond. Started the engine and headed to her apartment. When I got there, the door flew open before I even finished knocking. She'd been standing right there waiting. Eyes red and puffy, hair a mess. She was wearing one of my old hoodies, the gray one I'd left at her place months ago, and something about that detail made my chest tight in a way I wasn't expecting. Oh, thank God. I've been calling you for an hour. Where have you been? I walked past her without answering, sat down on the couch. There was a half-eaten bowl of cereal on the coffee table, and her laptop was open to some wedding planning website. The irony of that almost made me laugh. Almost. I looked at her. Tell me about the text. I know it sounded strange. I wasn't thinking clearly when I wrote it. Wasn't thinking clearly, I repeated. You wrote 2 complete sentences with punctuation. You specifically said putting your ex's name on our baby's birth certificate would be more meaningful. That takes thought, Brooke. She started scrambling, overwhelmed with emotion. Pregnancy hormones. Brought up old feelings about people who've been important in her life. Important enough to name our kid after? She stumbled. No, that's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Small words so I can understand. I just thought maybe as a middle name, to honor a relationship that was important to me at one point. Nolan was a big part of my life. Stop. I held my hand up. You want to give our baby your ex-boyfriend's name to honor him while you're marrying me? When you say it like that, it sounds bad. Because it is bad. My phone went off. Pulled it out. Unknown number. Text. Tell your crazy fiancé to leave me alone. I'm happily married and want nothing to do with her drama. She's lying about everything. I showed her the screen. This from Nolan? Her face went white. Why is he texting you? I went to his house. She stood up so fast she knocked over her water glass on the coffee table. Water went everywhere. Neither of us moved to clean it up. You what? Sat down with him and his wife. Had a nice chat. Showed them your text. Wanted to see how they'd react. You had no right. I had every right. You sent me a message that made me question everything. So I went looking for answers. Seemed like the smart move. She was spiraling now. Started crying harder. Talking about how we're supposed to be getting married in 2 weeks. How we're supposed to be happy about this baby. How I'm treating her like a criminal. So I said it. Take a paternity test. She went completely still. Like I'd unplugged her. What? Blood test. Medical facility. Prove the baby's mine. If it is, we move forward. If it's not, I didn't finish. That's insane. I shouldn't have to prove anything to you. You're right. In a normal situation, you wouldn't. But this isn't normal. You made it abnormal when you sent that text. I headed for the door. Schedule the test. Send me the appointment details. Until then, I don't want to hear from you. Not a call, not a text, nothing. Where are you going? Away from here. I need to think, and I can't do that with you crying in front of me. I opened the door. Oh, and the wedding? I canceled it this afternoon, right after I got your text. You canceled our wedding? Her voice cracked. Can uncancel it if the test proves I'm wrong, but I doubt it will. I walked out, closed the door, could hear her sobbing through it. Didn't turn back. Stop. Just stop for a second. This man canceled his wedding. $15,000. 2 weeks out. Because one text message didn't add up. And people are going to call him paranoid for that. People are going to say he overreacted. But let me ask you something. If your partner texted you saying they wanted to name your baby after their ex because it was more meaningful, you'd just shrug that off? Nah, you wouldn't. Nobody would. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. All right, back to the story. Drove to my parents' house. Needed to tell them before Brooke did. Needed to get ahead of this thing before it spiraled. Because I had a horrible feeling this spiral was just getting started. Mom opened the door before I could knock. She had that look moms get when they can feel something's wrong. I sat down in the living room. Dad muted the TV. He'd been watching some fishing show. I remember the guy on screen was holding up a bass that was way too small to be that excited about. Wedding's off, I said. For now, anyway. Told them everything. The text, the visit to Nolan's house, the confrontation, the paternity test demand. Watched their faces go through the same stages mine did. Confusion, shock, anger. You did the right thing, Dad said. Something's off here. But what if I'm wrong? What if she really did just have a moment of stupidity and I'm blowing up our whole relationship over nothing? Mom, firm. Then the test will prove it. And if she's got nothing to hide, she shouldn't have a problem taking it. That night, I barely slept. Kept running through scenarios. Best case. Baby's mine. Brooke said something monumentally stupid that she'd spend years making up for. Worst case, she cheated, got pregnant by her ex, and tried to pass it off as mine. Middle ground, couldn't think of any. This was pretty black and white. I remember laying there at like 2 a.m. staring at my ceiling fan going around. My roommate's cat kept scratching at my door, which was annoying but also weirdly comforting, because at least something in my life was behaving normally. I think I finally fell asleep around 4. Woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Next morning, 17 missed calls, 32 texts. I made myself coffee before looking at any of them. Used the good beans too, the ones I'd been saving, because I figured if my life was going to fall apart, I might as well have decent coffee while it happened. Most of the messages were, please talk to me, and I can explain everything. But one stood out. Fine. I scheduled the test. Next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Harbor Medical Center. Are you happy now? Tuesday. 6 days of waiting. 6 days of slowly going insane. 6 days of everybody in my life having an opinion about what I should do. I texted back, I'll be there. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, okay. I should mention, I took the whole week off work. Told my boss family emergency. He didn't ask questions. Just said handle it. Small blessing because there was absolutely no way I was going to be useful at that desk for the next 6 days. I tried reading a book one afternoon. Read the same page 4 times and couldn't tell you a single word on it. Wednesday afternoon. Unknown number. Almost didn't answer. Hello? This is Megan, Nolan's wife. Voice tight. Controlled. Barely. We need to talk. She asked me to confirm the text was real. I offered to forward screenshots. She believed me. Then she told me Nolan had been acting strange since I showed up at their house. Defensive. Angry. Snapping at her over nothing. And this part made my stomach drop. He suddenly wouldn't let her see his phone anymore. That's new? Very new. Before this week, we had an open phone policy. Now he's got it password protected and takes it everywhere, even to the bathroom. People don't suddenly lock down their phones unless they're hiding something. That's a fact of life. You don't wake up one morning and decide your wife of 6 years can't see your screen unless there's something on that screen you don't want her seeing. Is Brooke taking the test? Megan asked. Tuesday. When you get the results, will you tell me? I deserve to know if my husband's been lying to me. I will. I promised her that. And I meant it. Thursday, Brooke's mother called, and man, she came in swinging. How could you cancel the wedding? Do you have any idea how humiliating this is for our family? With all respect, your daughter's the one who made this humiliating. She made a mistake. One silly comment. It wasn't silly. It was specific and concerning. You're being paranoid and cruel. That baby is yours. Brooke loves you. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. Over the next few days, I got calls from Brooke's dad, her sister, her best friend, every single one telling me I was overreacting, defending her. Not one of them, not a single one, able to explain why she'd said what she said in the first place. They all just kept circling back to she was emotional and pregnancy hormones. Like that explains wanting to put your ex-boyfriend's name on a birth certificate. Friday night, Brooke texted, "Can we please talk face to face? I miss you." Stared at that message for a long time sitting on my bed. Part of me wanted to see her, wanted to believe this was all a misunderstanding. But the smarter part of me, the part that read that text and felt his whole world crack, that part knew better. After the test, not before. You really don't trust me at all, do you? Should I? No response. Saturday. Nolan left a voicemail. His voice was tight, angry, saying his wife was filing for divorce because of my accusation. 6 years of marriage falling apart. Said if the test came back showing he wasn't the father, he'd sue me for defamation. I saved the voicemail. Might need it. Sunday was the longest day of my life. I cleaned my apartment twice just to have something to do with my hands. Organized my closet by color, which is something I've literally never done before and will probably never do again. Brooke texted one last time that night. I'm scared. I almost didn't respond, but something made me type back. Me too. What if this ruins us? It already did. The test just confirms what's true. I love you. I didn't answer that one, because honestly, I didn't know how I felt anymore. Love needs trust. Trust was in real short supply. Pause. I want you to picture this guy's week. Sunday through Saturday. Waiting. Not knowing. Every single person in his life telling him he's wrong. Her family attacking him. Her friends attacking him. And he's just sitting there going, I know what I read. I know what my gut is telling me. That takes a different kind of strength. That's not anger. That's discipline. The easy thing would have been to believe her. The hard thing was standing in the fire and waiting for proof. All right, let's continue. Tuesday morning, I was awake at 5. Didn't need the 3 alarms I'd set. Drove to Harbor Medical Center. Hands steady on the wheel. Heart going crazy. Brooke pulled in at 9:55. She looked terrible. Dark circles, hair in a messy ponytail, sweats and an oversized hoodie. She saw my car and hesitated before walking toward the building. We didn't speak. Checked in separately. Sat on opposite sides of the waiting room. Nurse called us back together. Small room, 2 chairs, counter full of medical supplies. Blood draw took 10 minutes. Brooke went first. I watched the needle go in, watched the vial fill. That blood was going to tell me everything I needed to know. My turn next. Barely felt it. Too focused on Brooke's face. She looked terrified. People with nothing to hide don't look terrified. We walked out separately. Made it to my car before she called out behind me. Wait, please, can we talk? Just 5 minutes? About what? About us. About how we fix this. I turned around. There's nothing to fix yet. We wait for results. Then we'll see if there's anything left to fix. You really think I cheated on you? I think you gave me every reason to wonder. That's on you, not me. Got in my car, drove away, left her standing there in the parking lot. Next 7 days were brutal. Everybody calling. Nobody with answers. My family trying to be supportive while secretly hoping I was wrong. I could see it in their faces. They wanted the baby to be mine. Wanted the whole thing to be a misunderstanding. I wanted that too, but wanting something doesn't make it real. It was a Thursday. I remember because, wait, no, it was a Friday actually. I keep mixing those days up because that whole week blurred together into one long, horrible stretch of time. But yeah, Friday, around 2 in the afternoon. I was sitting on my parents' back porch because I'd basically been living there all week. Phone rang. Unknown number. This is Harbor Medical Center calling regarding lab results for Brooke Keller and yourself. Everything stopped. Like the whole world just went quiet for a second. Yes, this is him. Your results are ready. I can email them to both parties now, or you can pick up physical copies at the front desk. Email, please. They should arrive within the next few minutes. Have a good day. Have a good day. Lady had no idea she was about to change my entire life with a PDF attachment. I sat there on the porch steps, opened my email, refreshed, nothing. Refreshed again, nothing. There was a bird sitting on the fence across the yard just staring at me. I remember that because I was staring back at it thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm having a staring contest with a bird while waiting to find out if my fiancé destroyed my life. Refreshed a third time. New email. Harbor Medical Center. I clicked it. PDF loaded slow. Way too slow. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped my phone. Document filled the screen. Medical terms, numbers, charts. I scrolled past all of it looking for the only line that mattered. Found it. Probability of paternity, 0%. Based on the genetic markers analyzed, the tested man is excluded as the biological father. 0%. Excluded. I read it 3 times just to make sure my brain wasn't playing tricks on me. But it was clear. Brutally, undeniably clear. The baby was not mine. I read it 3 times. Clear. Brutal. Undeniable. The baby wasn't mine. I sat there on those porch steps staring at those words and felt absolutely nothing. Not angry, not sad, not relieved, just empty. Like someone had scooped everything out of me and left the shell sitting there holding a phone. It rang. Brooke. I answered. Did you get it? Small voice. Yeah. Long silence. Heavy. I'm so sorry. Barely a whisper. So it's true. You cheated. It was one time. One stupid mistake. I didn't mean for this to happen. With Nolan? Yes. When? About a month ago. We ran into each other at a friend's get-together. One thing led to another. It just happened. A month ago. While we were planning our wedding. While I was calling vendors and confirming the guest list. While she was trying on dresses and showing me flower samples. She was with her ex. Does he know? Not for sure. I told him it might be his. He's been panicking ever since. And you were just gonna marry me and pretend the baby was mine? I thought maybe it was. I wasn't sure. But you knew it might not be. And you didn't tell me. She was crying hard now. I made a horrible mistake, but I love you. We can still fix this. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Just came out. Fix this. Brooke, you're pregnant with another man's baby. A man you cheated on me with while we were picking out wedding centerpieces. What exactly is there to fix? We can get through this together. No, we can't. We're done. I stood up. You need to tell Nolan. He deserves to know he's about to be a father. What about us? There is no us. There hasn't been since the night you slept with him. I just didn't know it yet. Hung up. Blocked her number. Then forwarded the test results to Megan with one line. You were right to file for divorce. She responded in seconds. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry you had to go through this. Hold on. It just happened. That's what she said. It just happened. Like it was an accident. Like she tripped and fell into her ex-boyfriend. No. You made a choice. You made a series of choices. You chose to stay. You chose to go further. You chose to hide it. You chose to send that text and hope nobody would connect the dots. And the only reason any of this came out is because she was stupid. Enough to mention his name in the same message where she announced the pregnancy. She told on herself, that's not an accident. That's karma. Okay, back to it. Called my parents. Told them everything. Mom cried. Dad just said, come home, we'll figure out the next steps. But first I had one more thing to do. Drove to Brooke's apartment. Used my key one last time. She was sitting on the couch exactly where I knew she'd be. I want every penny back. Everything I spent on the wedding. The deposits, the venue, the photographer, the catering. All of it. I don't have that kind of money. Then figure it out. Sell something. Borrow from your parents. I don't care. But you're paying me back every dollar. That's not fair. I stared at her. You cheated on me. Got pregnant by your ex. Tried to trick me into raising his baby. And you want to talk about fair? Nothing. She had nothing. I put my key on the counter. Goodbye, Brooke. Walked out for the last time. Got in my car and drove away from the biggest mistake I almost made. Saturday morning, I sent a group text to both families. Brooke's parents, her sister, my parents, my brother. Family meeting. My parents' house. 2 p.m. today. Everyone needs to be there. Brooke's mom called immediately. What's this about? You'll find out at 2. I got there early. Set up the dining room table. Moved Mom's centerpiece thing to the side. She gave me a look but didn't say anything. Printed copies of the test results. 5 copies, 1 for each party. When people started showing up, the confusion was thick. You could feel it in the room. My brother pulled me aside in the kitchen and asked what was going on. I told him to sit down and wait. Brooke arrived last. Looked like she hadn't slept in a week, which, honestly, she probably hadn't. Her parents flanked her on either side like bodyguards. Her sister hung back near the door, like she wasn't sure she wanted to be there. Smart instinct. Everybody sat down. The dining room felt smaller than usual, with that many people crammed around the table. Dad had made coffee, but nobody touched it. Just sat there with their hands in their laps waiting. Her dad spoke first. All right. What's this about? I handed everybody a copy. Watched their faces as they read, one by one, like dominoes falling in slow motion. 0% probability of paternity, I said. The baby's not mine. Want to know whose it is? Brooke's mother went pale. This can't be right. It's right. Brooke cheated on me with Nolan about a month ago. Got pregnant. Tried to hide it. That text about naming the baby after him. That was her guilt talking. Her dad turned to her. Is this true? She nodded. Tears rolling down. Her mom. Voice cracking. You cheated. While planning your wedding. It was a mistake. A mistake that cost me $15,000 in wedding expenses, I said. Which she's going to pay back. Every penny. We don't have that kind of money. Her dad. Then sell her car. Take out a loan. Figure it out. My mom touched my arm. Honey, maybe we should... She made her choice. She deals with the consequences. Brooke's sister. You're being cruel. I'm being fair. She tried to trap me into raising another man's child. Cruel would be pressing charges. That shut everybody up. Does Nolan know? Brooke's father. Quiet. He does now. Sent him the results this morning. His wife already filed for divorce. Brooke sobbed louder. Her mom hugged her, but even she looked disgusted. I think we should go. Her dad. Stiff. Humiliated. Good. You should feel humiliated. Your daughter destroyed 2 relationships and brought a child into this mess because she couldn't keep her commitment. They left fast. My family stayed. You okay? Dad. Better than okay. I dodged a bullet. I sat down heavy. Can you imagine if I'd married her? Found this out a year from now? 2 years? Mom squeezed my shoulder. You did the right thing. All of it. My phone buzzed. Text from Megan. Nolan's freaking out. Lawyer says he'll have to pay child support. His whole life is falling apart. I replied, we both deserved better. Word spread fast after that. Friends took sides. Most took mine. Brooke's people tried defending her at first, but the facts were too ugly. She cheated. She lied. She tried to pass off another man's baby as mine. There's no spin you can put on that. By Monday, she deleted all her social media. Couldn't handle the fallout. Her best friend, girl named Jess, who I'd always gotten along with actually, she texted me to say she was sorry and that she'd had no idea. Said Brooke had been lying to everybody, not just me. That one hit different because Jess seemed genuinely upset about it, like she'd lost something too. Tuesday, check from her parents, $8,000. Note attached, it's all we can manage right now. Rest will come in payments. I deposited it, sent them a payment plan, typed it up like a business document. No emotion, just numbers and dates and a signature line. That felt weird, honestly. Sending a payment plan to people who were almost my in-laws. But weird was kind of the theme of my life at that point, so whatever. Wednesday, I went and got myself tested at a clinic. Last thing I needed was a parting gift from Brooke's betrayal. Tests came back clean. Small mercy. A month later, I heard through mutual friends that Brooke and Nolan were trying to work out some kind of arrangement for the baby. Neither one wanted a relationship with the other, but they were stuck with an 18-year connection now, whether they liked it or not. Megan took Nolan for everything in the divorce. The house, the savings, basically his whole life. She deserved it honestly. 6 years of marriage destroyed because he couldn't keep his hands to himself. Brooke's own family stopped talking to her for a while, too embarrassed to deal with the fallout in their social circle. And me? I went back to work, started hitting the gym harder, not in some dramatic revenge body way, more like I just had a lot of energy I needed to burn off, and lifting heavy things helped me not think for an hour. Reconnected with friends I'd been too busy wedding planning to hang out with. My buddy Ethan dragged me to a pickup basketball game on Saturday mornings. I was terrible at it, but it felt good to be doing something normal. Got promoted at work about 3 months later, actually. My boss said my focus and discipline over the past few months impressed him. I didn't tell him the focus came from trying not to think about how close I came to marrying someone who was carrying another man's child while picking out our wedding cake flavor. Ran into Brooke once at a grocery store about 4 months after everything. She was visibly pregnant, looked exhausted. We made eye contact across the produce section. She was standing near the avocados. I was grabbing apples, and for a second the whole store just kind of froze. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something. I kept walking, pushed my cart straight past her, and didn't look back. Nothing left to say. The woman standing in front of the avocados wasn't the person I thought I was going to marry. She was just a stranger who'd lied to me, and strangers don't get my time anymore. 6 months after the breakup, I got the final payment, $15,000 total, fully reimbursed. Deposited the check at the ATM on my lunch break and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, no relief even. Just done. Like closing a browser tab you forgot was open. Chapter finished. My buddy Ethan asked me one night, we were at his place watching a game. I think it was a playoff game, but I honestly can't remember who was playing. His TV was doing that thing where the picture gets slightly brighter during commercials, and it was driving me nuts. Anyway, he asked if I regretted how I handled everything. Not for a second, I said. That text message was the universe giving me a warning. I could have ignored it, married her, spent years raising another man's kid before finding out the truth. Instead, I listened to my gut. Think you'll ever trust somebody like that again? Yeah, but I'll verify everything now. Trust and verify aren't opposites. They work together. Anyway, 3 weeks ago, Brooke texted from a new number. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you're doing well. Blocked it without responding. Some apologies show up too late to matter. And honestly, some apologies aren't even apologies. They're just people trying to make themselves feel better about what they did. I don't owe her that comfort. And honestly, I don't think she's sorry she did it. I think she's sorry she got caught. There's a real big difference between those two things, and most people don't bother figuring out which one they're actually hearing. I figured it out. Took me a while, but I got there. Last week, I deleted the last photo of us from my cloud storage, removed her contact info, cleared out every digital trace of the relationship. Took about 20 minutes. 4 years of my life cleaned out in the time it takes to watch a sitcom episode. That's what happens when somebody lies to you. The whole thing shrinks. All those memories you thought meant something just deflate, because you realize half of them were built on something that wasn't real. People ask me if I'm bitter. I'm not. I mean that. I'm grateful. Grateful for that stupid text message. Grateful I found out before the wedding. Grateful I had the backbone to walk away when everything inside me, every instinct, every memory, every late-night conversation we'd ever had was screaming at me to believe her. She made her choice. I made mine. She's living with the consequences of what she did. And I'm living free. Started dating again recently. Nothing serious, no rush, but it feels good to be open to it again without feeling like the floor might drop out from under me. Will I ever fully trust someone the same way again? I don't know. Probably not the exact same way. But I'll trust smarter. Eyes open. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. That's just growing up. And I'm okay with that. All right, everybody. That's the story. And I gotta say, this one stuck with me. The thing that gets me isn't even the cheating. People cheat. It's awful, but it happens. What gets me is the audacity of that text message. She announced a pregnancy and mentioned her ex's name in the same breath. She was either so guilty she couldn't keep it inside, or so comfortable lying that she got sloppy. Either way, it saved this man's life. He trusted his gut when everybody around him was telling him he was crazy. His fiancée, her parents, her friends, all of them saying he was paranoid, overreacting, being cruel. And he stood there and said, "No, something's wrong. Prove me wrong." And she couldn't, because he was right. So what do you think? Did he handle it the right way? Should he have given her a chance to explain before canceling the wedding? And what about Nolan's wife? Do you feel bad for her? Or do you think she should have seen the signs earlier? Drop a comment. I want to hear your takes on this one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. We post these regularly, and they only get crazier from here. This is Fyra. Catch you in the next one.